Only when you're in a pleasant state of experience, your body and your brain works at its best. There's no argument about that, there's enough evidence to show that. So whatever impact or success or reaching goals or growth or whatever you say, on one level in the physical world, it's about how well you harness your physiological and your psychological process, isn't it? Whether your body and mind works against you or works for you, this is a big difference. So there is enough evidence to show only when you're in pleasant levels of experience, this happens best. So obviously, joy is first, then growth. If you're joyful constantly and you have no fear of suffering because you understand all human experience comes from within you, and so you have managed to create the kind of experience that you want, now growth is possible unbridled. If you have the fear of falling down and suffering, you will not go very high, isn't it? Right now, let us say you're joyful. If you look at your chemistry, it'll be in a certain way. Let's say you are miserable. If you check your chemistry, it'll be in a completely different way. Now we have a technology that with which you create a chemistry of blissfulness. So my chemistry is blissful, doesn't matter what's happening. The drama around me is happening in so many different ways, but this is a privilege that I've kept for myself. Me being joyful or miserable, me being peaceful or disturbed, these privileges I have not given it to anybody else, I kept them to myself. I think every human being should do that. That the privileges of the nature of your experience must be in your hand. Because when you try to act in the world, there are many forces. All of them will not always cooperate. Sometimes they cooperate, many times they will not cooperate, many times they'll turn against you. This is the nature of the world, that's how it should be. World will never happen 100% your way, and I'm glad it is so, because if it all happened your way, where do I go? I'm glad it's not happening your way. Little bit my way, little bit your way, little bit somebody else's way. That's how the world should be. If people understand that the source of human experience is within you, joy or misery, agony or ecstasy, pleasure or pain, everything comes from within you. If you understand this much, if I understand, suppose right now I think I'm miserable because of you, there's no solution for my life, isn't it? Because all you have to do is walk in front of my home, I will become miserable. If I understand the source of my joy and misery are within me, then you know what's the obvious choice?
Joy.
It's the obvious choice, isn't it? So this one fundamental thing has to get across to all the human beings on this planet. Your experience is entirely determined by you. This is what the word karma means, unfortunately. It's become something else here. Karma means action. That means when we say your life is your karma, we are saying your life is entirely your making, 100%. What happens in the world, there are many forces involved. What happens within me, it's 100% me, 100%, isn't it? If you don't take charge of this, then you're an accidental life. When you're an accidental life, anxiety is very natural. Suppose you're driving accidentally, that is, you don't know what's happening and you're simply somehow going, anxiety is natural or no?
Yes.
Any accidental moment creates anxiety. So this is why consciousness means this, that you have taken charge of the instruments of life, which on most fundamental level is our physiological and psychological space. You've taken charge of this. Now your health, your happiness, your joy, your ecstasy, your misery, everything is in your hands. You exercise them as you want. You know, people come to me and say, Sadhguru, I want to walk the spiritual path. I say, okay, be here for 3 days, let's see what we can do. Say, no Sadhguru, day after tomorrow, my uncle's daughter's birthday, I have to go. Oh, you want to get enlightened? And day after tomorrow, uncle's daughter's birthday also, all right. We got 1.5 days. You do one thing, you do this and this. I say, Sadhguru, but I don't like this. All right, I'll give them a small piece of paper. and say, okay, write down things that you like, we'll do that. You won't believe it, in this entire universe, most people like only 3 or 4 things. When you're so constipated in your head that you like only 3 or 4 people or 3 or 4 things in your life, how do you want to open up to the existence? Because life is happening because of its openness. This is a fundamental difference between death and life is, people are thinking it's just breath, all right, on one level. That is also openness. Whether you allow this to happen or you don't allow it to happen, whether you did it consciously or unconsciously, but it's happening, isn't it? Openness is on every subatomic particle, is in communication with everything. That's why this is going on. Breath is happening, so much is happening in connection with everything. It is only in openness you're alive. As you close doors, you're dying in installments. Dying in installments is torture. See, life is fantastic if you're alive and fully alive. If you're dead, it's good, at least the neighbors may think so. This may sound very not so compassionate, but I'm saying, everybody dies, you and me will die, all right? If you're dead, the game is over. But if you're half dead, oh, this is endless torture to yourself. When you are being tortured, of course you'll share it with everybody else. Pain is physiological, it's there. If there's no pain, most people would not even know how to protect themselves. See, just because there's no pain in this, see what all you've done to it, isn't it? See, there's no pain in this, so that's why you took it off. Wherever there is no pain, people are messing with it like crazy, isn't it? They call this hairstyle, they call it so many things. Only pain is helping them to preserve themselves, isn't it? So pain is good. There's no physiological pain, most people would not know. But suffering is something that you do in your mind. So pain that happens in your body, you take it in your mind and multiply it 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times, depending on how capable you are or how stupid you are, and suffer it 1,000,000 times over. Right now, most human beings are like this. What happened 10 years ago, they can still suffer. What may happen day after tomorrow, they already suffer. They are not suffering life, they think they're suffering life. They're not suffering life, they are suffering the 2 most fantastic faculties that human beings alone have, a vivid sense of memory and a fantastic sense of imagination. The survival process has become easier than ever before. Believe me, in the morning if you need a bucket full of water, if you had to walk a mile to the river to get 1 bucket of water, and your family needed 25 buckets of water, you would have no time to mess yourself. Now you have a lot of time to mess yourself because our survival is better organized than ever before. Another thing is, most human beings do not know how to manage their biochemistry without physical activity.